Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Communicate Great podcast. I am Tracy Poe, and we have a very special guest tonight, Danielle, and we'll dive into her story and talking about communication with Danielle tonight. Danielle, I am so excited. We met online. I think it was a networking
Mhm,
group,
mhm.
and then you and I had a one-on-one just to kind of explore what we could do to collaborate.
Sure.
And you were telling me your story, and I was just thinking, okay, podcast, she has to come on. And so we are obviously about teaching people tips and
Mhm,
tricks to level up their communication in both their personal life and in their
mhm.
professional life. And when you were telling me what you did and why you do it, man,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna turn it over to you and just
Oh,
sit and
goodness.
learn and listen and maybe ask a question here or there, but
Sure.
you are like the epitome of communication. That is just at the core, really, of what you talk about and do. So take
Oh,
it
well, thank you
take it
so much
away.
for having me. Yeah, and look, this is special to my heart because I get to share all these years of things that I've learned in a very
Mhm.
condensed way,
Right.
which hopefully helps someone get an unlock, right? And that's what I'm shooting for. Like, hey, these are the things that help me kind of find these unlocks, and here are some of them, quick and generously offered to you because I want people to be well. I want people to live healthy. I want people to live free, right? And
Yes.
it's something that someone had to teach me, right? I didn't know this inherently. Someone had to teach me. And
Mhm.
I get the pleasure to teach others. And that's what I love to do. That's what I do. I'm an advanced grief recovery specialist. So that's what I kind of do as my day job, right? And
Right.
so I help people, I coach them with monthly coaching and through programs and limited belief systems and things like that to learn how to communicate better with themselves and with others, right? And really, it's about emotional communication. We talk
Mhm.
about grief sometimes, and people think, oh, that's just for death and that's just for divorce. No,
Right.
no, there are over 40 plus different types of losses that we can experience
Wow.
that
Mhm.
we don't attribute as and call it in our society as grief. It's a loss
Right.
event. So that's really what I want to kick off with. I want to like give us a definition of what is grief, right? How does it kind of show up for us? How does it feel? And then
Right.
like what do we do with that?
Right.
So grief is, just to set the table here, the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior, right? So the
Mm.
conflicting feelings that come with an end or a change. It's also like the normal and natural emotional reaction to loss or change of any kind. So it always is accompanied by some sort of emotion that is coming up, and usually emotions that conflict with each other, right?
Mm.
It
Mm.
can be expressed like this: the feeling of reaching out for someone or something that's always been there for you, only
Right.
to discover that when you need it one more time, they're no longer there,
Right.
right?
Right. Mhm.
But sometimes we don't have like the best relationships with people and things, right? Sometimes there's conflict in relationship. And so in those cases, when there's a loss or an end, a change or an end in that relationship, or that the relationship to someone or to something, it could be this: the feeling of reaching out for someone or something that's never been there for you, only to discover
Mm.
that when you need them one more time, they're still no longer there,
Wow. Wow.
right?
That
So
that's deep. That's
it's
deep.
so broad. It's so
Mm.
broad. Um,
Mhm.
Let me give some examples, right? Because you're like, whoa, okay, so it's not just death, it's not just divorce, but what is it then, right?
Right, right.
There are a couple different areas of losses, right? So there's the tangible losses. These are the things
Mhm.
you can touch, taste, see. That's the first part of it, right? Romantic
Right,
breakups, right?
right.
But some of those tangible things, like we don't normally talk about, are like employment,
Yes.
marriage,
Yes.
moving, right?
Yes.
So like let's look at employment for a second. Like, say you've been in a job for a while, right? And you get a promotion. This is a change that has
Mhm.
occurred, a status in the company, which is a
Mhm.
good thing, right? We
Right.
never would have thought of like that's a loss, but it's a loss in how you relate to your coworkers. Perhaps it's a change in your
Mm.
financial stability or increase there. So it,
Wow.
it makes you other than, right? There's a
Right.
change in the way that you
Wow.
need to like communicate with others within your group. Maybe you have a more leadership role at this point, right? There are changes that happen in that loss event. You've lost a position and you've gained something,
Right.
right? But there's a conflict of feelings that happen in that. And for me, all of these losses in life that you can experience need to be honored, right? The other one is marriage,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Getting married's great. I've been married for 7 years now, coming up almost seven. Okay, my husband would say in 3 weeks it'll be seven. I'm like, it's seven. I round it up. Okay. But getting married comes with a lot of losses, right? And this is like a healthy relationship like situation, right? You could be losing your last name, right? You could be losing where you're living. That change
Right.
happens. You're moving in with
Mhm.
somebody, or you're changing locations for somebody, right? That you love and you care about and you want this to happen. There's also a change in like family relationships. So the way that you
Mhm.
relate to your family is different. Maybe you don't go over every Sunday anymore, right? Or the
Mhm.
way that you hang out with your friends is different, right? Your
Mhm.
relationships change.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to honor that change. You have to acknowledge like this is happy and it's sad. It's both and, right? You're holding that
Right.
complexity. You're
Right.
acknowledging both of those emotions, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Another tangible loss that we experience in life, a lot of people experience this, is moving. I
Mm.
remember when we went from our first apartment to our house, really excited. Our apartment was small, it was cramped. We were ready to get out, right? It was like, let's go, pack up
Right.
our stuff and go.
Mhm.
But as we were pulling out of the driveway, there was just a sadness that happened
Right.
because wow, we've lived here for 5 years, but it's more than that. I've
Right.
had neighbors that I've built relationships with. I
Mhm.
have to change the way I go to work, right? The route that I take, the grocery stores that I go to, like
Mhm.
all of these things where I get my mail and how the trash works. And it can be overwhelming, right? But that's a
Yes.
loss event that needs to be honored to say,
Yeah.
look, thank
Oh.
you for the things that this place has given me. And I'm happy and curious about what the new thing is too.
Right.
So tons of examples here, tons of examples, business readjustments, imprisonment, change of a health of a family member, right?
Mhm.
Tangible losses that we experience.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
there's the intangible losses that we can experience. Sometimes they come with a tangible loss, sometimes they come by themselves, right?
Mhm.
But these are things like loss of safety, loss of trust, loss
Yes.
of identity, loss
Yes.
of faith, right? Loss of
Mhm.
independence for maybe an elderly person who's losing that independence, or you've
Right.
come across a sickness that you're like losing some sort of independence that you used to rely
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
This also can apply to loss of like hopes and dreams for the future of someone. So we talk
Yes.
about that a lot in
Yes.
like miscarriages,
Yes.
right? You've lost your child, which is devastating for anybody. And you
Mhm.
have to reconcile that loss for yourself and your family and grieve that loss of that
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
But you're also losing the hopes and dreams and of the future of your child, right?
Right.
That you had for them, that you have to reconcile and you have to complete,
Right. Right.
right? Um, yeah, so there's a lot more, right? In where we live in upstate New York, we have a high population of refugees.
Okay.
And one of the intangible losses that come with that is like not just loss of country, right?
Right.
Easy one to point out. Loss of language, loss of
Mhm.
culture, loss of
Mhm.
tradition, right?
Mhm.
All those things, these are complex things that
Mhm.
come with
Mhm.
this type of change for
Yes.
somebody that need
Yeah.
to be witnessed, right?
Mhm.
And then there's the third bucket, right? Disenfranchised losses, and there's a lot of that are in there too, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
grieving someone you didn't know, like maybe someone you just met online, or like a celebrity, right? You know, Princess
Mm.
Diana died, right? And
Right.
people grieved. They had never met her and they
Right.
grieved hard,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Mhm.
And so um grieving for someone who has a mental illness, right? Disenfranchised.
Yes.
It's a complex loss that people don't acknowledge. They don't attribute to as loss,
Mhm.
and yet it's still there, and they wonder, well, why do I feel stuck in my emotions, right? Why do I feel stuck in how I'm feeling? I'm feeling bad, right? Why? How do I get rid of this feeling?
Mhm.
Um, and one of the myths about grief is don't feel bad, right? It's something we're taught,
Yes.
we're handed down. Don't feel
Yes.
bad, you'll get over it soon, right? Maybe you've heard
Yes.
some of these. I'm gonna read a couple, and they
Yes.
feel like, right?
Yes.
Don't feel
Yeah.
bad, you can start over. Don't feel bad. It's
Yes.
not the end of the world. Don't
Yes.
feel bad. Everything happens for a reason. Okay. It's
Yes. Yes.
intellectual statements
Right.
that may be true, but don't help because
Right.
grief isn't intellectual, it's emotional.
Right.
And
Right. Yes.
have to process the emotional, like the
Right.
emotions that are coming up, right?
Right. Right.
So there's so
Yes.
many of this, and this is really where my family of origin shined because they taught me this very early on of don't feel bad, don't feel bad, don't feel bad. And you get this messaging at a very young age and you internalize it of like, okay, well, if they're telling me not to feel bad, maybe I shouldn't feel bad, but I'm feeling bad. Right.
Right.
How do I process these
Right.
losses?
Mhm.
And I had some really traumatic things happen at a very early age. 10 years old, I was held hostage. 13, I witnessed a suicide. 14, I had a
Mm.
health issue with my eyes where I lost my eyesight for a brief period of
No.
time. And they didn't know what was going to happen. And my story got into the New England Journal of Medicine. Like when specialists are interested in you, like, because they can't figure it out, like
Right.
it's just not a good feeling. Um,
Right.
physical
Right.
abuse and emotional abuse and sexual abuse, like all these things, right? And the under or overlying messaging that I was getting was don't feel bad. Invalidation of my feelings and
Mhm.
and not witnessing them and a displacement of them saying, "Don't feel bad, have some food," right? Food is love. I grew up in a very
Mm.
Italian household, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you're starting to replace the loss with different things, right?
Right.
But the
Yeah.
problem here with don't feel bad is that don't feel bad becomes don't feel, and don't
Mm.
feel becomes don't. So if you
Yeah.
operate in this mindset of don't feel bad, don't feel bad, don't feel bad, don't feel bad,
Mhm.
but you're feeling bad,
Right.
eventually it becomes don't feel. And the problem here is
Mm.
that you mute your emotions, you mute all of them. Like
Mm.
all of them come down, they all get suppressed. You can't just pick and
Wow.
choose. Oh, I'm not going to feel bad, I'm not going to feel mad, I'm not going to feel sad, right? I'm not going to feel happy. Like all of them get muted and you just start
Wow.
to live and operate numb, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
so for me, and if you live and operate numb long enough, you lose hope and it becomes
Mm.
don't exist, don't feel, don't engage with the world, don't live, right?
Mm.
And that's where it landed for me too, like when I'm in my early 20s at that point, and like train going by, sitting in my car, it's like 2 a.m. making my do I stay, do I go list, because I couldn't imagine a world where I couldn't keep suppressing it. It was taking too much energy for me to continue
Wow.
to suppress all of the hurt and the pain that I was feeling, right? And so so skipping forward a little bit in my story, and I'll circle back to this, like
Okay.
unresolved grief, right? All of these things were unresolved for me. And these are
Right.
some of the physical ways that it showed up, right? And then some
Mm.
of the physical ways that it can show up is like depression, out of the moment, lack of energy, um, maybe a little prickly, like you're always on edge,
Yeah. Yeah.
isolated, maybe
Mhm.
some unwanted like behavior patterns for me. So there's like socially accepted unwanted behavior patterns like overeating,
Right.
shopping on Amazon all day long, right?
Yeah. Right.
Binging Netflix for 6 hours, like
Right.
socially acceptable things that we do. Anything that you use to replace or take place of an emotion, right?
Yes.
The not trying to feel emotions, right?
Right. Right.
And so then there's some socially acceptable ones like drinking too much and doing
Mhm.
drugs
Mhm.
and getting into risky relationships online and
Mm.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And there
Right.
were some things that I started to do because suppressing the emotion by keeping busy was no longer working. So I
Right.
had to add on to it. I was keeping busy and overeating, keeping busy, overeating, and drinking, keeping busy, overeating, drinking. You
Right.
understand, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so until someone said, "Hey, there's a different way," right? You can actually break free of this and not have to live like this anymore. But it was years of living like that before I started to get help for it. Because when I, in my family of origin, when I reached out and said, "Hey, I might need some help," right? I was shamed for that, right? Oh, you don't have a problem. Like, what do you have to worry about? Right. And so
Wow.
sometimes it's normalized, right? You don't understand that it's not normal until you get out of it. And you're like, oh, that's not how
Right.
everybody was living.
Right.
Right? And, s-
Wow. Yeah.
and so it's like, okay, okay, well, what do I do with that? Right. And so
Yeah.
I grew up in New York, moved to Boston for a bit, and then I was out in LA for my career. And when I went out to LA, I really went out there to get as far away from New York as possible. And I was like, I'm going to go build my career, right? I was working
Mm.
in television and in reality TV. I was working as a casting associate and then, update, casting, producing, and that type of stuff. That world of talking to strangers, convincing them to be on TV, right, for major
Right.
networks. And I was doing great at it, right? But my
Mm.
world internally was falling apart.
Wow.
And my plan was to get as far away from New York as possible. And God's plan was to do some major heart surgery on me. And so
Right.
he introduced me to some friends out there. I didn't know anybody when I moved out there, really.
Mm.
I didn't know anybody. I was just like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I'm coming out. I'm going to try to make this work and I know I can do it.
Right.
And I got connected to a church out there and to some lovely women that were like, whoa,
Right.
you know the phrase hurt people?
Yes.
I was hurting. I was hurting really deeply. And at that point in my life, I was like, screw you, God, I don't want to talk to you, right? I'm angry at you.
Right.
Um,
Right.
People who were in the church, I was like, make me believe that what you say is true is really true. Like that was my attitude,
Mm.
my heart attitude, because it was like I would keep people at a distance because
Sure.
I didn't believe them. I just was gonna keep getting hurt and I didn't want to keep getting hurt. But I also knew that like if I don't do something about this, I'm gonna die, right?
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
this like
Yeah.
dichotomy of,
Right.
well, maybe I need some help, right?
Mm.
And so they just lovingly, lovingly, I'm talking about the patience of a saint, okay?
Mm.
Took me in, slowed things down, taught me, and they're like, look, let's just grab a meal together. Let's build relationship. Like, let's love on you and care for your heart and see what your needs are. And they were the first ones to confront me to say, hey, we think you might have a problem with drugs and alcohol. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I've got it under control. Right?
Right. Right.
Hilarious. Um,
Wow.
we've got this program. Why don't you walk with us? We'll walk with you through it, right? And so I got clean and sober through that. I got saved and baptized through them, right? And so these things started to click into place. But when those things happen, like as incredible as that is, I still had all of this baggage with me, right? My
Right.
address changed, right? So the end of my
Right.
life, my address changed. I still had all of this baggage. And
Yeah.
and everyone has baggage. You just got to figure out if it's checked or carry on. And mine was carry on. I was like, no, give me more, give me more. I can get it. I'm strong enough. I can do it by myself, right?
Right.
And I had to learn. I had to slow that down and I had to learn what emotions were. I didn't even
Mhm.
know. I didn't have the language of emotion, right?
Right.
Happy, mad, sad, glad, afraid, embarrassed. Like I had none of that. And
Wow.
so I had to learn slowly, slowly with therapists, with the friends who were investing into me, with coaches, right? With people who said, hey, you, it looks like you might need these resources.
Mm.
Let's give you these resources. Great.
Mm.
Okay. And I
Mhm.
really had to fight for it, fight to not be resentful that I was paying for the sins of others, right? Essentially, is how I looked at
Mhm.
it, paying for the
Mhm.
brokenness of others. Yeah, there were some things that I entered in and decided to participate with myself that I had to deal with and I could own. But there were
Mhm.
things that I had nothing to do with that were done to me that I
Mhm.
still had to repair those broken parts.
Mhm.
And and to give up my right for revenge was something that I really struggled with, to say, God is my avenger. He is gonna take care of me and holds all the justice, right? But I remember during that time, I have this really great resource that was given to me from the Center of Nonviolent Communication, and through a friend of mine who said, "Hey, this would be a good resource." Um, Called like your needs and your feelings, right?
Mm.
And I would carry it around. I would love to show you if I can pull that up, if that's all right.
Yes, 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 that'd be great. I'm
So
very curious.
let me share this with you if you can see my screen here. So
Yeah.
so this is basically feelings and needs inventory, right? That they put together. This is a beautiful resource. Anyone listening, anyone watching who wants this, reach out to me on my website. I will send this to you. You can go to their website and find it. Um, but essentially what they've done is, and this isn't all of the feelings, right? This is a great starting point. Asking yourself,
Mm.
slowing things down to say, "What am I feeling?" And at
Mm.
the time, I didn't know. I would use this lesson like, "What am I feeling? Am I feeling amused? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling engaged? Am I feeling peaceful and calm, empowered? Or am I feeling apprehensive and dread and scared and hostile and perturbed?" Like I didn't have the language for it. I had to learn the language of emotion. And so what was helpful for me is using this resource, um, excuse me, and really turning the question inside out, right?
Mhm.
Instead of asking myself, "What am I feeling?" I used to ask myself, "What am I not trying to feel?"
Mm.
Because that gave me more information, and I was easier to, like, identify, "What am I not trying to feel? Oh, I'm not trying to feel sad. Got it. Got it. Like, how okay,
Mhm.
how do I now feel that in a safe way?"
Mhm.
Um, but that was huge for me. That was an unlock that I needed to learn, right? And so there was a lot of heart there was a lot like a heart transplant that happened, right? And when somebody has major surgery like that, emotional surgery like that, right? There's a long recovery road that
Mhm.
happens. And
Mhm.
so I did bodies and trauma classes. I explored improv. Improv was something that I didn't really think about as a resource, but it was
Mm.
a safe place to play with danger, right? Because you don't know what's coming next, right?
Wow.
And I used this resource and I took a course on wounded hearts, adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse. And that was really helpful. And then I found grief recovery. And
Mm.
I was like, okay, I've dealt with using. Now let me deal with why I used. Right. And it really slowed the process down for me. It helped me categorize and take inventory and do the discovery work for all of the things I'd been holding on to against people and say,
Mhm.
what's mine to own? What's mine to give back? What's not mine, right? That boundary level, mine and not mine. And what are the things that I need to say that are just significant to me that maybe have never been heard, maybe just need to be said with somebody listening, right? And so this is tackling unresolved greed. This
Mhm.
is the unresolvedness, right? The
Mhm.
things we wish we had said or done different, better, or more. The unrealized hopes, dreams, and expectations, and the undelivered communications of an emotional nature. That's the components. Those are the red flags that say, "Is there something here that I wish was different, better, or more?"
Mm.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's some grief here that's unresolved, right? Do I have a
Mm.
hope, dream, or expectation about this relationship that's not being met and it's causing me to feel some type of way?
Mhm.
Okay, maybe there's something unresolved here. Have I
Wow.
said something over and over again and it's just not being heard and I don't feel heard or understood? And I
Mhm.
I I keep delivering it, or maybe I feel timid and I can't deliver it because I don't know how it's going to be taken, right?
Mm.
It's all of those emotional components that need to be said and heard to somebody who's witnessing it, right?
Mhm.
It's like for a lot of years I was trying to paint with a hammer
Mm.
and it only made a mess. But
Mhm.
when I was taught how to paint with a paintbrush, like,
Mm.
I'll tell you what, there were some beautiful things. And so I just was like, wow, it works. Cool. 6 weeks done. It works, right? Now what? What do you do when
Right.
you have a new tool, right? You sharpen
Right.
the tool, right?
Mhm.
So I spent the next 5 years working with somebody because I had a lot, right? And I felt like, well, if it works, like the work works, I'm convinced of that because I just proved it to myself it works.
Mhm.
What if it works on all these other things, right? And so I
Mm.
just started to consistently sharpen that tool for myself and consistently do the work in my own life and work on like 45 plus relationships that are tangible, intangible, and disenfranchised losses that I personally experienced, right? And there's more, but like, okay,
Mhm.
those are the ones I've cleared at this point, right? And at some point I kind of like leaned into my specialist that I was working with at the time, and I was like, I think I need to teach these. And they're like,
Right.
"Yeah, we think you do too." So I got
Ah,
certified in it, I started teaching it, and I just went, full time into it now. But like the reason I'm passionate about it is because it helped me get unstuck, right? It
right.
it worked.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this works. And now that I've cleared all this baggage, cleared all this space, I'm like, I want other people to feel this too. I
Right.
want other people to know that there's hope no matter what they've been through,
Right.
right? It's based in forgiveness, which is great, but it focuses not on faith, but on the emotion of loss, right?
Mm.
Grief is emotional. You need to
Mhm.
deliver it, get it up and out.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always look like sometimes people think like, oh, that just means you're just with sad people all day long. Like, nope. Sometimes anger is part of that. Sometimes shame's a
Right.
part of that.
Right.
Sometimes whatever.
Right.
Go to that list. Like
Right.
all of those are valid emotions, and emotions are just there to give us data, right? That's how I
Right.
look at it. It's like it comes and it goes like a river, right? And so you don't want to get swept up in the river and pushed through the water. You don't
Right.
want to be in a speedboat on top of the river and just not feel anything. You want to
Right.
be able to have navigation and the tools to like ride
Right.
that wave out because the next one's coming, and
Right.
to know what to do with it and not get sucked into it, right? So for me, I'm like, I'm all about this because it works for me and it works for everyone that I've taught it to, which is
Right.
like really encouraging and great. But the work only works if you do the work,
Do the
right?
work. Right.
Right. You have to take action. Grief is going to stay with you until you take action. And so the majority of the time I say, look, get the book, read the book. That's the part of the homework anyway. So if you're not ready to like do deep heart work with a coach or a mentor or a friend, right? All right, start with the book,
Mhm.
but begin to slow down the process for yourself and be curious and ask yourself, what am I feeling?
Mhm.
Or what am I not trying to feel? Because that will
Right.
give you the data that you need to say, Where's the unresolved grief in my life? Where is it showing up?" Right? And
Right.
how can I now resolve it, right?
Right.
Write it down, get it out of your head, share it with someone safe. Sharing the discovery is important because you're being witnessed and your emotions are being validated. But when I say a safe person, I don't mean like just anybody. I mean someone who you
Right.
trust, right? Someone who is going to hold that sacred space for you
Mhm.
and honor it. It's someone who's going to listen without judging or criticizing or
Mhm.
analyzing. We call it a heart with ears. That's who you're looking for. A
Right.
heart with ears, someone who can take it in and say, yeah, yep,
Right.
I hear you and I
Right.
see you. And that is
Right.
all valid. It's
Right.
normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Allowing you that space to feel and to grieve. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that you don't carry it forward. And that's what motivates me. I don't want to carry and pass forward all of these, for lack of better way of explaining it, like negative, bad, unhelpful, right?
Right.
Ways of coping to
Mhm.
my future family. I want to
Mhm.
be as healthy and present and whole for whatever my family looks like. And right now it looks like my husband and my friends and my community,
Mhm.
you, right? Those that I meet, we're investing into one another, your
Mhm.
listeners. Like, I want to be healthy so that I can be
Mhm.
that example. Like, look, you
Mhm.
can be healthy. You have
Mhm.
to choose it. And
Mhm.
in fact,
Mhm.
you get to be healthy. You get to
Mhm.
choose this. You
Right.
don't have to be. Not everyone's going to choose it.
Right.
And I had to
Yes.
reconcile that. Like, okay, not everyone's gonna choose it. Maybe my family will, maybe they won't, but I'm still
Yes.
gonna speak truth about it. I'm still gonna be healthy for me.
Right. It's
Uh,
like that person who has the flu, the cold, whatever,
yeah,
and they choose to not take the thing that's gonna help them feel better. So I
yep,
I can actually be that way. So here I've had so many thoughts as you've been
Okay,
talking through
yeah.
this. I'm like, "Ooh,
Hit me
this
with
is"
it. I know I fire hosed that one for you.
You did. So one of the things I just wanted to share one of my stories, and I think you and I may have talked about it when we had our little coffee chat or
Yeah.
whatever people
Yeah.
call them on Zoom. So when you and I were talking about that it's not just about a death, a
Sure.
divorce, a whatever, I think I was sharing with you that I walked away from a job that
Mm.
I loved. I don't know, I think we talked about
I
that.
think we did a little bit, yeah.
Right. I walked away from a job that I loved, and I told you it felt like a divorce
Yeah.
because I was leaving some beautiful people, but for my physical health, for my mental health, and for my health of my family, even my
Yeah.
family was suffering with me being in that job. I had to walk away, which is a great thing. Walking
Yeah.
away from that job was a good thing, but it doesn't mean it didn't hurt.
Absolutely. In fact, I just
Yes.
left corporate life about 3 months ago, and so
Okay.
I was with the company myself for about 7 years, and
Mhm.
I was at that crossroads that they had made me an offer. I said, "Would you like to talk about that?" They said, "Well, this is the offer," and I said, "Okay, no, thank you." And in that process, that's a very shortened version of that because I'm still working through it. Um,
Mhm.
and I got a lot of advice through that because I was like, "Whoa, I've just invested 7 years into this." But also, I've been doing this grief recovery work with individuals on the side as a side hustle for nights and weekends for 8 years. So, like, it's
Mhm.
not like this is just something new. This is just something I've been doing that no one, like, really knew that I was doing, right, full time
Mhm.
or
Right.
part-time at that time.
Right.
But yeah, man, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good because you're not just leaving the company, right? You're leaving your coworkers. There's a
Yes.
change that's happening there.
That was
You're
it.
leaving the
Mhm.
relationships with your vendors, right?
Mhm.
You're leaving all these different things. And I thought I was going to bounce back in a week. It's been 3 months. I had to slow
Mhm.
down for 3 months to regain my capacity back. And that's why we're
Right.
talking because I was like, all right, I have capacity. Let me start networking. Let me start getting
Right.
more output
Right.
into
Right.
things. But yeah,
Right.
you're absolutely right. Resigning from a job holds a lot of unresolved grief, not just for you, for your employer and for
Mhm.
their employees as well, which
Mhm.
needs to be recognized. I wish more companies would recognize that because if you
Mhm.
just talked about it, if you just brought it up and said, "Hey, this person's leaving," right? Whether someone gets fired or they choose to resign or the company restructures, whatever, right?
Mhm.
You need to give people the space to feel what they're feeling, to talk it through, to
Mhm.
help them understand. I remember doing a lot of coffee one-on-ones with people and going on
Mhm.
walks and just being like, "Look, it's okay. The relationship outweighs the circumstances, but this is the
Mhm.
right circumstance for me now. It's
Mhm.
the right time. This needs to happen. Otherwise, it's going to be resentful." And
Mhm.
nobody wants that. I want to protect the relationship and say, we've come to the end,
Mhm.
right? Of
So I
this of this sorry, of this relationship, right?
Right. Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
I ever see them again? Yeah, absolutely. And I have, and it's been wonderful, right? But it's
Mhm.
not in the exchange of energy for money and talent and money. You know what I mean? Like that
Right.
exchange that happens. It's a different
Right.
exchange.
Right. Right. So I have 2 questions for you, and I'll give you a story, and then I'll ask you my questions.
Okay.
So, when you were talking about miscarriage, I had a miscarriage years ago, and one of the things that I noticed was that, you talked about growing up, "Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Mhm.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad." I feel like, and honestly, I am one of those people that it's terrible when I always say the
Mm,
most stupid things, honestly.
mm,
I always say the most stupid things. But,
mm.
when I had my miscarriage, I had people saying things to me like, "Well, it's been X amount of time. When are you gonna get over it?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or, somebody said, "Sorry about your little mishap."
Mhm.
Those kinds of
Mhm.
things, and I can say up to that point in my life, whenever I don't remember my mom and dad saying, "Don't feel bad," but I wonder if that was kind of,
Sure.
just an underlying thing
Yeah.
because
They never
in
explicitly said it for me either, right?
right, right,
It
just
was
yeah,
all
get over it.
subcontext.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and I had my mom was amazing and my dad is amazing, and it's not what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
I remembered thinking in my miscarriage, that was the first time in my life that I think I was in my early 30s.
Mm,
That was the first time in my life that I wanted to feel because
mhm.
I knew I'm not saying I never felt anything.
Sure,
I
sure,
you and I had
sure.
a different history, but
Yeah.
I remembered thinking, "No, I need to sit in this. I need to feel
Mm,
every bit of
mhm,
grief and allow myself the pain." Because
mhm.
who likes pain? I don't like pain. I don't like physical pain. I
It's a
don't like
great teacher,
emotional pain,
but
you
nope,
know?
I
Right.
don't like it either.
And so here is the deal. In that moment, I finally gave myself permission to feel pain, but nobody else wanted me to. And
Mm,
so one question I would ask is, or the first part of this question is,
yeah.
how do you honor somebody else needing to feel pain?
Mhm.
And you talked about this next one quite a bit at the beginning. How do you honor yourself needing to feel pain? So those are my 2 questions, and then my next question is gonna be about the book, but go ahead. So those are your
Okay,
questions.
I'm gonna answer those 2, and I want to address a couple things that I heard too,
Okay.
right? Intellectual statements. When people say intellectual statements, it's because they don't know how to respond.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
They're uncomfortable with
Mhm.
the emotion
I
themselves,
agree.
right?
Mhm.
And they've been taught how to respond intellectually,
Mhm.
right? It's a learned behavior, and the way that we grieve
Mhm.
now is, well, the way that we grieve, right, is from whoever taught us how to grieve. It's a
Mhm.
learned behavior. If
Mhm.
you think about, the person that you spent the majority of your time as a young person with, growing up with, a mom, a dad, a
Mhm.
grandparent, foster mom, foster whoever, right? The majority of the time, think about how they grieved when something bad happened. And you can kind of start to connect the dots. Oh, they used to close the door, go into their own room and cry by themselves, right? Which is a myth. Grieve alone, right?
Mm.
Oh, you
Mhm.
know what I do when I'm sad? I kind of shut myself away from the world, and
Yes.
then I come back out when I'm ready. Huh.
Yes.
Where did I learn that? Right? Asking yourself,
Mhm.
who taught me that
Mhm.
is great, like a great exercise. Who taught me that? Right. And that's sometimes
Mhm.
I practice this with clients of like when belief systems come up when I hear it, right? I'm not good enough or 1,000 other ones, right?
Right.
Whatever's individual for you. I kind of interrupt it and I say, who taught you that?
Wow.
Oh, I never
Okay.
thought about it. Okay. Where did I learn that from? Right. And so slowing that down, breaking that down, disrupting that pattern is really helpful. But yeah, it's
Mm.
because people are uncomfortable. They don't
Mhm.
know what to say. And
Mhm.
most of the time they say sorry. And sorry is a word of ownership.
Mm.
Sad is an emotional word.
Mm.
So I had to retrain myself when I reacted to people's loss to say, what am I feeling about it? And then be genuine about that. Like, oh, wow, I'm really sad that happened.
Mm.
Right? You must be feeling lots of things. Would you like to share it? Like, what happened?
Mm.
How
Right.
is this for you?
Right.
Right? Because we can have similar losses, but we are two unique individuals and no two people are the same, right? Therefore,
Mhm.
I can never say I understand how you feel because I'm not you. I'm not you.
Right.
I can
Right.
understand how I felt when I experienced something similar, but I
Mhm.
can't understand what you're feeling because I'm not you, right? So when
Right.
people say I'm sorry, it's taking a false ownership, and I really would love to break that in our society
Wow.
because it's not yours to own unless you're the perpetrator and you actually did something and you're owning that reconciliation. You say, "I'm
Right.
sorry, I hurt you." Right? Okay, well
Right.
then don't say sorry. Tell me how you're feeling, right?
Wow. So I have a question breaking in. Now I have
Sure,
another
sure.
question. So
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
I tend to say things like, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm wanting
Yeah.
to acknowledge their pain.
Yeah.
So, how would you flip that? I mean,
Right.
how would you flip that?
Yeah. I would just exchange the word sorry for an emotion. Ask yourself genuinely, how are you feeling about it? If it makes you sad, say, I am sad for
Hurt,
that. I'm
hurt.
hurt.
I'm hurting for
I'm
them.
hurting with you.
Mm,
The ministry of
yeah.
presence is
Wow.
really incredible. When you can sit and give someone space just to be themselves and to
Right.
feel whatever you're feeling and not to judge it and not to fix it,
Yes.
just
Yes.
let it be.
Mhm.
Share with me. Tell me. Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
Mhm.
How are you coping with that?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So I think it's really implementing curiosity
Okay.
over this reactive, let me fix it for you. No
Right.
one has to fix your emotions. You're not broken. You're
Right.
human.
Right. Right.
It's
Wow.
normal and natural to feel.
Mhm.
It's good to feel, right? If you're not
Mhm.
feeling something, there's a block there, right?
Right. Mhm.
Um, so sorry versus sad is a big one that I get hung up. I'm like, you're not, I mean, okay, okay, okay. There's something here that needs to get learned. Great, got it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I try not to judge
Yes.
people like, okay, someone had to teach me this too. Someone had to teach me this too. Like, got it. Um,
Well, and it
yeah,
typically so in my mind, typically what I'm thinking is you see something on Facebook, somebody posts a loss,
yeah.
so the very quick response is, "I am so sorry for your loss. I'm praying for you and your family."
Right, right, right,
Right?
right. Very
Like
intellectual way
that's the typical
to
thing.
respond. Yeah.
Or at a funeral, like, that's where I say some of the most stupid things because I don't
Right,
wanna say something stupid, I end up saying something and I know that
right.
I shouldn't be using the word stupid, but, I mean, some of the things that have come out of my mouth because I am really inept at this.
I'm
Now
listening. I'm looking for a resource here to answer this question.
no, 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 it's fine, and so but if it were just you and I sitting in a living room,
Yeah,
I would totally handle it in a different way. I would just sit and listen and
yeah,
talk to me, tell me what you're feeling, what can I
yeah,
do for you, those kinds of things. So it's specifically in those public type settings where I think so many of us are not equipped to
yeah.
say
We
the
don't,
right thing.
we don't know what to say. There is no right thing. There is no right thing, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know what to say, right? There's a couple things we don't know what to say. They're afraid of our feelings. Um, they try to
Mhm.
change the subject, or we try to change the subject. They
Yes.
intellectualize. They
Yes.
don't hear us, right? They won't don't want to talk about death, right? So there's a lot of complexities going on because we haven't normalized feelings.
Mhm.
We haven't normalized um the capacity to be with somebody in the depths of their emotion.
Mhm.
And that's something that's practiced, right?
Mhm.
And it's going to be uncomfortable at first because you've never done it
Mhm.
before, right? Or you've
Right.
done it a few times. But in public, it's just like asking the person, would you like a hug? And if they say
Mm.
no, respect it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Let me just sit here and be with you. We don't have to
Mhm.
say anything.
Mhm.
Let me just be with you.
Mhm.
Or asking the person, what happened?
Mhm.
How are you feeling?
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
A lot of the times we get into this fix it mode of like, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Because we're like,
Yes. Me.
let me do something. Give me a task, right?
Let me help you. I wanna help you. I wanna make it better, and I know I can't. I know I can't. Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And grievers just want to be heard. They want to be heard and
Yes, I
understood.
agree.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Mhm.
Hear them, validate them, like
Let me grieve. Let
witness
me grieve.
witness them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah. So
E
yeah.
I was gonna say, even after a little over a year of losing my mom, I lost her last July 6th.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, so here's I walk away from my job May 11th. My mom gets diagnosed with glioblastoma June 6th, lose her
Hmm.
July 6th. And so it
Hmm.
was like bam, 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 all in a row. So anyhow, that's a whole other thing. But,
Hmm.
I still find myself today just all of a sudden crying, over a year later, just out of the blue, you talk about the
Hmm.
definition of grief, reaching out. She's not
Yeah.
there anymore. I can't
Yeah.
text her. I can't call
Yeah.
her.
Right.
So and she's not calling me, and she's not commenting on my Facebook, boosting me. She was like my mom and my daughter are 2 of my biggest
Mhm.
boosters, and so she's not there boosting me anymore. She's not sharing my stuff. She's not pushing me out, telling people, "Look at my daughter, she can help you," kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so
What does that bring up for you?
um, just I think as I've gotten older, I have truly learned from going back to my miscarriage when that was the first time in my life that I would wanted to allow myself to feel every single grief feeling,
Mm,
every single emotion. So since that time, what it brings up for me is allow myself to hurt, allow myself to cry.
yeah.
It's okay to cry. It's
Yeah.
okay to miss her. It's okay
Yeah.
to be sad that
Yeah.
she's not going to see her first great grandchild.
Yeah.
None of the nieces, nephews, cousins, none of them have their children yet, and they're never going to get to
Mm,
meet great grandma.
yeah.
And so, there is a loss there,
Yeah.
especially for my kids. And I'm sure that my brother and sister's kids feel the same.
Yeah.
But, I know that my daughters, they were close. And when she has a baby, she's going to want to talk to grandma, and
Yeah.
grandma's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so for me, what that brings up is honestly permission to grieve.
Mhm.
That's what I have given myself. So going back to the question about, and I know I've like asked all these questions.
No, I wanted to walk through that specifically. Because I want to validate like all of those things that you
Mm,
shared are
mhm,
valid.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with me. Like, yeah, that's it. That's what you do for someone
Mm,
right there. We
mm.
just
Wow.
example right there.
I'll go back and watch this again and again.
No, but seriously, like, yeah, yeah.
So
That's
example of a way to honor someone else feeling grief. There you go, right there. You
there you
did a
go.
beautiful job of
You did
demonstrating
too,
that.
because you shared honestly with me too and trusted me with that part of your story.
Mhm.
I appreciate you for that. And if I was in person, I would say, "Would you like a hug?"
Yeah, and I would say, "If I hug, I'm gonna cry."
And I would say, "That's okay. If you cry,
Yeah.
I can handle that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a
So
little virtual hug.
so how do we honor that for ourselves then? How do
Sure.
we honor allowing ourselves
Yeah.
to go through that?
Yeah. Good question. I think of a lot of it is taking 1% responsibility.
Okay.
Acknowledging that a loss has occurred or maybe a series of losses have occurred, right?
Mhm.
Saying that this is connected to a grief or maybe several griefs. I'm actually going to bump down to that page because I use it as a reference. But acknowledging that and acknowledging that you might need some help, right?
Mm.
Allowing yourself to slow down,
Mhm.
allowing yourself to feel, giving yourself permission to reach out for help when you want to reach out and to
Mhm.
reach in when you need to reach it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's okay to be alone and isolated if you need that.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
It's okay
Mhm.
to say, I'm a little overwhelmed by everybody, right? That I've
Mhm.
got too many meals here, whatever.
Right.
And it's also
Right.
okay to say,
Yeah.
I maybe have been watching Netflix for too long. I need to reach out to someone, text,
Right.
call, in person, whatever.
Right.
Right. So I think also not putting a timeline on it. I think that's
Yes.
like such
Thank you.
like, please relieve yourself of a timeline. If
Thank
I would
you.
have said like I was so funny in regards to resigning, I thought I'd be done in a week, right? And I was like,
Right.
I'm gonna be totally healthy and great. I've been overworked and burnout for 7 years, and I'm gonna bounce back in one
Right.
week.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it's allowing yourself to feel, and that's a practiced thing, right?
Mm.
Letting those emotions come up and out, right?
Mm.
It's practiced. It's practiced.
Mm.
It's something that you continually do every day, asking yourself, slowing it down, bringing other people into it, expanding your community,
Mm.
saying like, "Hey, I'm in pain. What are
Mhm.
some resources?" Sometimes that means finding a therapist, and that's not a one
Mhm.
and done deal, right?
Right.
For me, I
Right.
had to go through like 5 or 6 and I'm like, "Oh, I click with this person. This is it. Okay, great."
Right.
And then we
Right.
dove deep, right?
Right.
It's the same as like the safety stuff in an airplane, like you put the oxygen mask on first for
Yes.
yourself before
Yes.
you could put it to someone else, right?
Yes.
It's the
Mhm.
same thing. It's a learned thing. You have to be healthy for yourself before you can help all these other people, right? And so if
Mhm.
you're in a situation where you're like, oh, I just have to be strong or be strong for others, like that's another myth. No, you need to be
Mhm.
healthy so that you
Mhm.
can be strong for others.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah,
But
there's lots of different, go ahead. There's lots of,
no, I was just gonna say I use that analogy a lot with people,
yeah.
talking about the self-care and intrapersonal communication, communicating with yourself. I absolutely use that one a lot. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself
Right.
before you can help somebody. You're gonna pass out, and then you
Right.
can't help them.
And then you can't help anybody.
Right.
Right, 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 right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Now
Yeah,
I
it's
will.
prioritizing your health.
Yes,
Prioritize saying, "I
I
am a
agree.
priority. I
Yes.
deserve to be healthy. I
Yes.
don't have all the answers right now, but I'm hungry
Yes.
for them." Right?
Yes.
And I know
Yes.
that I'm smart enough to figure it out. Right?
Right.
And sometimes it means hiring a coach like me, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it says, "Oh, you know what? This is the season I'm in. I need to
Mhm.
do some deep heart work. I'm ready to do it. Like, I
Right.
don't know how to do it. I'm curious. I want to do it,
Mhm.
but I need someone who's gone there before." And that's what I do,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I talk about it like your life is a garden, right? And I heard this from somebody else, but I'm going to take it and just add on to it, right?
Okay.
But your life is this garden. Every relationship, every loss event that you ever experienced and that you
Mhm.
ever will experience is like a garden bed in that garden. And
Mhm.
some of them are beautiful. They're
Mhm.
they're fruitful. They're growing well. Maybe there's a nice big tree that you find shade under, and the
Mhm.
fences are great. And there's like a little bench and a lamppost, and you like
Mhm.
to read outside of it. That
Mhm.
relationship is warm and toasty, right?
Right.
And there are others that have been neglected. Perhaps the fence is broken, right? Your boundaries, right? Perhaps that
Mhm.
there's weeds that have been growing for a while
Yes.
and you don't even wanna go near it because it feels icky,
Right.
right? You go near it,
Right.
just like, "I'm too tired to go near it," right?
Right.
"I don't want to go near it anymore." Perhaps there's, like, little critters that have, like, infestation or infection, right, that have come through
Mhm.
that don't belong there, right?
Mhm.
And so in order to get healthy, you have to realize that the soil is all connected. So if
Mm.
you leave some of these other plots of losses or relationships untended to, they start
Mm.
to infect. Maybe it'll be a month, a year, or many years, but eventually it's going to start to infect all of your healthy relationships. And so
Mm.
what I do is I come in with my set of tools and I show people how to build the fence up. I show people how to take those weeds out, how to
Mhm.
get rid of those critters, right? How to make it a nice, beautiful space again.
Mhm.
And I leave those tools behind, right? I come in
Mhm.
as that master gardener and say, I've done the work. I've continued to do the work in my own life because the work works. Let me go with you. Let me
Mhm.
be that guide with you. When it gets hard, I'm right there with you, showing you
Mhm.
exactly what someone showed me how to do.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
this can be a beautiful space. Your life can be beautiful in all
Mhm.
areas.
Mhm.
You have to choose to do it. I can't do it for you.
Right.
I
Right.
can do it with you.
Mhm.
I'm happy to do it with you. I can't do it for you because look, if I could do it for you, I wouldn't be on this call right now. I'd be doing work for somebody else because that would
Right.
be a very codependent thing for me to slip into, right? Let me do everybody's work for them. But
That's funny. Yeah.
I can't.
Exactly.
I literally
Mhm.
can't. I can't.
Mhm. Right.
But I can show
Right.
you how.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've always said, always, always, always is there are so many negative stigmas attached to counseling, right?
Sure. Sure.
And I
Yeah.
always tell people everybody needs a counselor at some point in their life, at least once,
Yep.
right? I think it's healthy to go to a counselor periodically
Oh, yeah.
just because you have a neutral third party to talk to, right?
Absolutely. Someone who's not emotionally invested, who could
Exactly.
set some clear boundaries, show you some new tools. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't here's my viewpoint on therapy. I agree. Everyone should do it at some point in their lives. Some people need a little bit more than others. But if you find
right,
a therapist who wants to keep you in therapy for 20 years, get out of that relationship because
right,
they're no longer helping you become healthy. At some
right,
point, you're going to be healthy and you no longer need me. That's the goal. The goal would be
right,
like, here's some tools. I'm going to show you how to use it. I'm going to help you sharpen that tool. Maybe 6 months, 9 months, maybe,
right, right.
maybe.
Well, what
Excuse
I
my
was
language.
gonna say is, while you're taking a break, what I was gonna say is, now I'm gonna say to people, everybody needs to go talk to Danielle, at least every couple of years, because
That's
I
funny. Yeah.
truly believe that grief therapy,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow,
Look,
there's
even
so
if
much
there's
there.
so much, right? And honestly, the goal would be the ideal client for me is someone who's like, "Hey, I'm ready to do the work.
Right.
I know that I need some coaching through it, and
Mhm.
I'm ready to commit to this like 6 to 9 months. Let's do it." Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Teach you the tools, bring you through. Let's get through major relationships, major losses. Let's get through the things that are keeping you stuck.
Right.
But as soon as I understand that somebody knows how to use the tool, I'm like, "Look, let's off ramp this because you know how to use it. You just need to choose to use it now." Like, cool.
Right.
Who's the next person that I can teach how to
Right.
use this new tool? So my
Right.
goal is to get you in and out as quick as you can do that and feel confident
Mm.
using it yourself. But yeah, I still have people call me every once in a while, like, "Hey, can
Just
we do
touch
another one?
base.
Can we do
Yeah.
another one?" Like, yeah, of course we can. But the
Right.
people who get the most benefit out of it are the people who sharpen the tool. Right.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
do the work, man. Do the work. I want
Exactly.
everyone to be healthy. Like just do it. I'm not saying that it's easy.
Right.
It
Yeah.
is hard work.
Mhm.
It was tough. There were times where I didn't want to show up and do it. And
Right.
those are the times where I had the ability to call my own coach and say, "Hey, I'm struggling.
Right.
Like I don't want to do it. It
Right.
doesn't feel good."
Right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it
It
doesn't feel
doesn't.
good.
It doesn't. Right.
I talk about it like people talk about like ROI, right? What's my return on investment if I
Right.
do this with you? Like, you're
A
thinking
healthy
about it
life.
wrong. Yeah, no, no, you're thinking about this all wrong. I want you
Right.
to think about COI. What is
Mm.
your cost of inaction?
Mm.
What is the
Right.
cost to you by not doing this and not having done
Right.
this for this many years? Because
Right.
it's going to
Wow.
show up for you physically. It's going to
Mhm.
show pay now or pay later, but at some point you have to pay.
Wow.
Someone taught
That's
me that,
true. So
right, a
true.
long time ago. It's
Mhm.
like, look, pay now or pay later, but at some point you're going to pay. And it's going
Wow.
to come
Yeah.
out in your relationships. It's going to come out in your working relationships. It's going to come out in your health, your physical health. It's going to come out
Right. Right.
because the soil is connected. So just get your soil healthy. That's it.
I love it. So what is this book that you've referenced?
Okay, so
Because
this is yeah, I'm gonna turn my self view back on because I wasn't trying to be distracted by myself. My
no, it's okay.
so this is the grief recovery handbook. This is actually the homework that we go through. This is the course that we go through.
Okay.
It's 200 pages or something, really easy read.
Mm.
And so this is the company that I'm certified through, the Grief
Mhm.
Recovery Institute. They're based out of Colorado. Um,
Mm.
and I maintain my certification with them, but I am one of their coaches. I train
Mhm.
grief
Mhm.
education.
Mhm.
So
So do
yeah, it's a
you
good starting point.
I
Like
was
if
gonna
they,
say,
yeah,
do you recommend people getting that just separate from you and then
yes, yes is
okay.
the answer. Like, look,
Okay.
get the book, read the book. I don't make anything off of
Yes.
it. It's like $10 on Amazon, right?
Right.
Get the book, read the book, but like the deep work happens when you're doing it with someone who can reflect back
Yes.
to you the things
Yes.
that you're not seeing,
Yes.
right?
I
Right.
agree. I
So
agree. Yeah.
that's where that benefit comes from because you're like you're coming into an expert who's like, "Oh, actually, have you thought of this, 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 and this, and how that all connects?" And like, let's do
Yes.
let's do
Yes.
the work. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
absolutely get the book. Yeah, that's a
So
great entry level way. And then,
I love it.
let's explore it. Is this the right time
Okay.
for me? Am I ready for it? And I'll ask questions like, what happened? What are you dealing with? And
Mhm.
let's talk about it. What are your
Mhm.
resources? Who's your community right now? Like, do you have good support? Because this is emotional work.
Mhm.
And when it gets hard, you're going to want to default to the bad coping mechanisms that you have that we're trying to help you
Mhm.
unlock and change. So
Mhm.
I want to make sure that you have a good support system to
Mhm.
continue forward in the work because I don't want you quitting on yourself, right?
I love it.
So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, those are 2 really great things, and, people can reach out to me on my website. They
Okay.
can get some free resources on grief, and, if they send me a message, I'll just send them that feelings, and needs thing that we talked about earlier, but
Love it.
yeah, get the book and
Okay.
then do the work with me.
And do the
Yeah,
work with
or
Danielle.
someone, and if I'm not a good fit for you, I will tell you, and I'll say, "Look, I don't think I'm a good fit for you, but
Yeah.
here's someone who is, and I think you."
I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna put in the description or in the comments of the podcast, I will put the link to the book and I
Fantastic.
will put your website
Great,
and
thank you.
whatever other information you want to include with the podcast. And so you and I talked before we ever started recording and I will be having you back on for sure.
Oh, thank
Because there
you.
is so much that we get into that ties into communication.
Sure,
And
sure.
so I really loved what you brought to us tonight because
Mm.
it is about communication. And thank you again for coming on and I look forward to having you back on and have a fantastic night. But thank you, Danielle, and everybody go look at all the information and I will give the links. So, all right, see everybody at the next
Bye,
podcast.
guys.